Yes. I want to show you guys in this short clip, an actual short clip, about editing poetry. So I mentioned it in yesterday's clip, but let's look at that today. So this is my poem that I wrote called Honeysuckles by Stormlight. I want to show you an actual real life example of poetry editing instead of being like the English teacher that sits back and is like, edit your poetry, kids. I want to show you what you can do and why. So I want to show you guys the first draft of this poem. I can go to different drafts by clicking on that. Here's the very first one that I ever wrote. It was actually last year. There was nothing on the page. There we go. So this is what it looked like at first. There's this moment when I'm younger and it's just dad and me walking the block down old stomping grounds, and a summer rhythm beats through me, around me. Feet pounding asphalt, cicadas thrumming and singing. So this is the first poem. Then I leave it alone. I love to leave poems alone for a day and then come back to them. So on May 2nd, I woke up in the morning and I was like, I'm not done with that. It's still going. So I changed some of the lines. I ended up taking them out. I thought that this phrase, it was one of those smiles where you're on an adventure. I thought, I know what that means, but that doesn't even sound good. That doesn't sound right. So I just deleted it and I added a little bit more to the story. So then 2 days later, I reread what I had. I came back to it and I decided I could add a lot more. So I went ahead and told this memory from my childhood of this time my dad and I snuck into somebody else's yard to pull honeysuckles and eat them off of their fence. And it was a really magical childhood moment for me because I didn't know you could do something like that. Honeysuckles are very magical to me. So I finished writing the poem, but then I left it alone. I actually had my husband read it, my then fiance, and he picked it apart. He found a bunch of things that he didn't like. And it was painful, but I listened because he knew that I could do it even better. And so I went back just recently, just a few days ago, and I made some edits. I added a prologue to my poem that talked about the moment when I had that memory come back to me of my dad and I. I made some little tweaks. I read the poem out loud. And I was like, as he steps into the yard, it's not our yard, it's a yard, not the yard. So there were just little things that I read out loud that I was like, no, I need to fix that. A lot of times I do not realize that I need to change something in a poem until I'm reading it out loud. I don't mean to somebody else. I just mean to myself or whispering it out loud. That's when I make most of my catches. So there's little just tweaks that I wanted to fix. Josh hated that I used the word conspiratorially right here. He's like, this poem is told from the perspective of a 5-year-old. Don't use the word conspiratorially. Explain what the 5-year-old is feeling. So it's like a conspiracy, right? That's the word I was going for. So instead I changed conspiratorially to, we trek 2 spies on a mission, like 2 explorers who have discovered a secret. And even just now reading this to you guys, I feel like before I jump back into the story, I should really have sort of an extended metaphor there talking about how we push past the bushes and we watch for birds that might be spying on us. And so I could even have some more fun. So I see more things to change, even though it's just a few days ago. I end up taking out things just because I realize I don't need them. And just making changes to how it sounds and how it flows. Even then, I still send it back to Josh. And I said, okay, how does this look? I'm not wanting him to say, oh, this is great. This is good. This is like a perfect poem. I'm honestly wanting him to read it out loud to himself and give me some feedback. Y'all, I could not sit there while he was reading that poem. It made me feel way too vulnerable. So I had him add comments on this. So my most current version has Josh's edits on here, so you could see what it looks like. So for example, right up here, he left a comment that says, lightning pulses, rhythm striking, a heartbeat in the night. He said, well, what if you actually ended up changing the syllables to sound like a heart, like going bump, 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 bump. So lightning pulses, rhythm striking, thunder echoes through the clouds. You hear this thump, 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 thump. I'd never even thought of that or caught that. Down here, he was like, I like this, but you should change the order of these 2 lines because it should be like zooming in. You start in the clouds, then it goes down the street, then it goes to your heartbeat. He made other comments. There were some comments that were really cool. Like this one says, I like what you're doing here. So some positive comments. So I know, hey, I know he likes this. I want to do more of that, or I definitely want to keep that. And there's some other things that he says that are just like little comments of things he likes and things he suggests that I take out, which I will. So I'm still editing this poem. I just want to show you guys how you guys can actually edit poems. If you need help, share your poem with your English teacher and say, hey, could you suggest some edits? If you're brave, you could share it with a friend and ask them if they could suggest some. Or my best suggestion right now is just read it out loud and see what you want to change. So today at the end of all this, I'm at my 5-minute mark, so I got to stop. You're just going to turn in what you have. Your final version is going to be due on Monday. All right, guys, thanks for listening. Have fun editing. Editing poetry is fun. You got this. Don't worry about periods and stuff like that. All right, I'll see you guys later.